The greatest discoveries are sometimes a matter of pure chance.
I was flying up to Ethiopia from Kenya, and we diverted slightly to the east of normal track, and we were flying up the eastern side of the lake, and I was looking out of the window. What we were flying over wasn't volcanics, as we'd always assumed. It was sedimentary exposures, and where there are sediments, you usually find fossils.
Above the dried-out bed of the Nariokotomi River was a small hill, and on it, a single acacia tree.
That day I just came here looking for fossils. And I found a piece of skull.
Hidden in the rocks was a small piece of frontal bone, part of the skull above the eye sockets. For Kemeu, its shape and thickness suggested the fossil was hominid, a species on the human line.
I called Nairobi. I talked to Richard Leaky. I said, we have hominid. If you can come, you can see.
But as soon as Alan Walker arrived from Nairobi, it seemed clear Kemeu's discovery was unlikely to lead to any more fossils.
He'd gone to a place that I'd never looked. I mean, there's a scruffy piece of bad slope with old rocks and boulders. No signs of any decent exposure, not the place where you'd find fossils.
But because a small piece of hominid had been found, Walker and Leaky were forced to begin a complete excavation of the surrounding area.
I was working under the tree amongst its roots, pulling out soil with a brush and a dental paper so that we could pass it with a sieve, when I found the first side of the face.
And Richard said, "Come here, Walker, look at this. Here's the face." And the face was stuck in the roots of this tree. The tree had germinated in the only damp place in the desert, which was an upside-down Homo erectus skull.
Homo erectus was the same species as the fossils found in Java. But would this discovery in Africa reveal more about the mysterious half-man, half-ape?
They say, oh, this part must come from the back of the skull, this must front of the skull, this. So they fix them, and it become a skull.
The fragments of bone became a face. The face of a young male. A young male that was clearly on the way to being human. The skull was miraculously complete, and now scientists were able to get closer to this strange creature.
One of the major differences that one can see between a Homo erectus skull and a modern human skull, I mean, you can look at mine as an example, is that he has hardly any frontal lobes here, so he has next to no forehead. From above his eyes, it just goes straight back, whereas in modern humans, we all have this lump of frontal lobe of the brain sticking up here, giving us this more vertical forehead.
A few days after the discovery of the skull, the team found something puzzling. Long, thin fragments of fossilized bone, curved and flat on two sides. They were human-like ribs.
We never find ribs. Ribs in humans, in primates in general, unlike those of say, antelopes or cattle, are very soft and very thin, and they've got lots of marrow in them, and they're all crunched up by hyenas and carnivores and predators.
The survival of ribs that were 1.5 million years old was a sign that more bones might lie beneath the surface.
If you put ribs and face together, then the chances are there's going to be more. And that was what made us realize that perhaps we'd hit on something almost unique.
The team fanned out. They began to probe the Earth over a wide area with fine metal picks in search of the tiniest fragments of fossil.
Every time our little ice picks hit a bone, there's a ping, and everybody turned round and said, "Oh, you've got a bone." Soon everybody was finding bones. It was quite remarkable. There were half a dozen of us, Kemeu, me, Richard, myself, all sitting there, each working on a Homo erectus bone, and seeing one for the first time.
They had found the first complete skeleton of a creature 1.5 million years old. A creature existing at the midpoint of human evolution, exactly halfway between us and our first ape ancestors.